Clint Eastwood was born Clinton Eastwood Jr. on May 31, 1930 in San Francisco, California. His childhood was far from glamorous. Growing up during the Great Depression, his family moved frequently, chasing job opportunities before finally settling in Piedmont, California. Eastwood grew up tall, lean, and quietly confident, with rugged good looks that would later define his screen persona. But early on, there was no clear path to Hollywood stardom. He worked odd jobs, a lifeguard, a forest firefighter, even a steel worker, before slowly developing an interest in performance. His natural presence caught attention, but it took persistence and resilience before acting opportunities began trickling in during the 1950s. Clint's big break came in 1959, when he was cast as Rowdy Yates in the TV Western Rawhide. The show ran until 1965, and it allowed him to showcase the stoic demeanor and commanding presence that became his trademarks. But the real transformation happened when Eastwood traveled to Italy to work with legendary director Sergio Leone. Together, they created the iconic Dollars trilogy, A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, For a Few Dollars More, 1965, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966. Playing the man with no name, Eastwood brought a new kind of Western hero to the screen. Mysterious, laconic, morally gray, yet magnetic. These films didn't just make him a star, they helped redefine the entire Western genre. By the 1970s, Eastwood was no longer just a cowboy. In 1971, he took on the role of Inspector Dirty Harry Callahan, a San Francisco cop willing to bend the rules to deliver justice. The character became a cultural phenomenon, and the line, "Do you feel lucky, punk?" remains one of the most quoted in film history. Harry Callahan captured the mood of an era filled with frustration and debate over law, order, and justice. Eastwood reprised the role in several sequels, cementing his place as one of the most enduring figures in American cinema. Even at the height of his acting career, Eastwood wanted more control over his work. He founded Malpaso Productions, giving him the freedom to choose his projects. He began directing with Play Misty for Me, 1971, and critics quickly realized his talent extended far beyond acting. Over time, his work as a director became just as celebrated as his acting. Films like Unforgiven, 1992, and $1 Million Baby, 2004, both earned him Academy Awards for Best Director and Best Picture. He also earned acclaim for Mystic River, 2003. Letters from Iwo Jima, 2006, American Sniper, 2014, and Sully, 2016. Eastwood's directing style is known for its minimalism, efficiency, and focus on story, rather than spectacle. These qualities earned him respect worldwide, not just in Hollywood. Clint Eastwood's life wasn't limited to movies. A jazz lover, he composed music for several of his films. He also stepped into politics, serving as mayor of Carmel-by-the-Sea, California. From 1986 to 1988, known for his independence, Eastwood never hesitated to carve his own path. In 1953, Clint married Maggie Johnson, a model who stood by him during his early, struggling years. Together they had 2 children, Kyle, born 1968, who became a respected jazz bassist and composer, and Allison, born 1972, who pursued acting and directing. But Clint's private life was anything but simple. His marriage to Maggie ended in 1984, with a divorce settlement reportedly worth between $25 million and $30 million. Over the years, Eastwood had several other relationships and fathered multiple children with different partners, including Kimber, 1964, Scott, 1986, Catherine, 1988, and Francesca, 1993. His long-term partnership with actress Sandra Locke lasted nearly 14 years, but ended in a bitter and public breakup. Despite the turbulence, Eastwood always emphasized his role as a father, and many of his children followed careers in acting, directing, or music. Now at 95 years old, Clint Eastwood has outlived and outlasted most of his Hollywood contemporaries. Known for his quiet dignity and for letting his work speak louder than words, Eastwood has rarely commented on other stars. That's why when he finally spoke about Robert Redford, people paid attention. "Robert has always been someone I respected from a distance," Eastwood said. We came up around the same time. We weren't often in the same circles, but I admired the way he carried himself. He had a style, a presence that was his own. For Eastwood, who rarely gives compliments, this was remarkable. He acknowledged that Redford's career represented a different archetype of American masculinity. Eastwood embodied the rugged, steely gunslinger. Redford, with his golden looks and natural charisma, brought vulnerability and charm. Together, they represented two sides of Hollywood's enduring appeal. He wasn't like me, Clint admitted, and that was the point. He did what he did better than anyone, and you couldn't mistake him for anybody else. For decades, fans wondered why these two icons never shared the screen. Eastwood explained simply, the timing never lined up. He had his projects, I had mine. Neither of us wanted to compromise. But we didn't need to make a movie together to know what the other stood for. Both men eventually proved themselves as directors. Redford founded Sundance, a platform that gave independent filmmakers a voice. Eastwood admired this deeply, saying, what Robert did with Sundance was remarkable. He gave opportunities to filmmakers who might never have had a shot. That takes vision, that takes guts. It's a legacy that will outlive us both. At this stage in life, Eastwood no longer speaks as a competitor. Instead, he reflects with humility. When you get to my age, he said softly, you think about the people who walked the same road. Robert was one of those people. He carried himself with grace. Hollywood isn't easy, but he managed it. For Clint Eastwood, known for toughness, grit, and an often gruff exterior, this quiet tribute was powerful. It revealed his respect not only for Redford's work, but also for the dignity with which he navigated fame. We didn't need to compete, Eastwood concluded. We both found our way. I'm glad he was out there doing what he did. Movies are better because of it.